Hello, everybody. Today, I have the great pleasure of interviewing Miss Universe Ireland 2020, Nadia Sayers. So we're just waiting for her to log in.
Hi,
Hi,
how are you?
how are you?
I am great. Thank you for asking.
Do you like my banner?
I love it. I thought when I was coming in, I was like, that's me.
Yeah, I made it last night just for you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, I've been experimenting with, with different backgrounds. And usually I don't have a virtual background because I don't like that ghost-like effect when you put a
Yeah,
virtual background. But you know what? Who cares? I love it anyway. You have to try once in your life anyway. So I'm glad I
yeah.
did.
This
Yeah,
is your Zoom. You do what you want and you enjoy it.
exactly. Now, could you do me a favor? Could you raise your volume because it's a little low? Yeah.
Let's see. Can you hear me okay now?
Um, Slightly better, but that's fine. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. Let me see if I can raise my volume in my end. Yeah, I'm on high maximum volume right now, so that's fine as long as we can hear each other.
Yeah, I can
So
hear you okay.
wonderful. So what time is it in Ireland?
So it is 7 p.m.
7 p.m. because it's 2 o'clock here in Massachusetts, New York time. So yeah, so you're like Ireland is 5 hours away.
Yeah, yeah.
And how's the weather, by the way?
Oh my goodness, the past few days have been crazy.
Really?
It's got really really cold the past few days. I mean,
Mhm.
like it was 2 degrees today during the day. That's the warmest it's got. It's going into like -8, 9 at night now, and was snow yesterday and hailstones today.
Okay.
So and it wasn't like that for ages, but it just hit us
Wow.
again.
I can identify with that because we just had snow like yesterday. We had like 10 inches of snow on the ground right now. Yeah.
Lovely
And
season to make snowmen.
it's, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love snow the first time it hits the ground.
Yeah,
Everything is beautiful, everything is it's like winter wonderland. But give it like a couple of days and it starts to melt or freeze. And I that's one thing I hate about winter is shoveling snow. I don't know if you enjoy shoveling snow, but I hate it.
we've never really had to do it.
I'll just hire, some people to do dirty work for me. And hey, guys, want $10? Here, get clear of my driveway. Get rid of the snow.
The rare time it snows here, leave it for about 2 hours and you'll have kids and adults outside stealing snow from
Yeah.
your garden just to make snowmen. So you don't need to work with it.
Oh, have you ever made a snowman before?
It might have only been 2 weeks ago. I don't know if you saw on my Instagram, there was really good snow here.
Yeah.
And we went out and made like a 6'5" snowman.
Wait a minute. What is your Instagram account? Do you have one? Because I've been looking for Nadia Sayers. I couldn't find any. There's Miss Universe Ireland
I have one. It's just a little bit tricky. Yes, it's little at littlered.s.
at Little Red. Let me see. Let me just find it quickly. Because
No
like
problem.
I'm looking for like where is this girl's Instagram? I couldn't find one.
Is it hiding?
LittleRed.s. Is that it?
That's me.
Okay, I got it. So I'm gonna start following you. Wonderful. Okay, that's much better. Because I didn't know where to go to look for good pictures of you. So I just had to go to Miss Universe Ireland Instagram account.
That's my personal one and the one that kind of everything comes through. So you'll see
Yeah.
there's a photo of me in the snow, and that's the day like we built this massive snowman, and like everybody,
Oh my God. Yeah, there I saw it. Yeah, there it is. it's
everyone
wearing a,
from like
it's
around
wearing a,
kept like
it's like
looking
wearing a
at me.
it's like wearing a scarf. I'm looking
Yeah.
at the background. Yeah, okay, there it is. How cute. Maybe I should make one. I should
Oh,
make one for
it's
I should make one
wonderful.
that looked like you and put a red wig. So it looks like like a snow woman, Miss Universe Ireland
Well, it
snow
would be
woman.
the right kind of level of tan.
Oh my God, yes. Yeah. Now, you know what? Are you the first redhead to win Miss Universe Ireland? You
Yeah,
are. Okay,
yeah.
so you just made history.
Oh.
And you know what? As far as I know, there has never been a Miss Universe redhead. So you could also make
Yeah,
history.
I looked into that also. I haven't found one. There
Yeah.
actually haven't been many redheads representing Ireland on a global stage in
Yeah.
general.
Mm-hmm.
So it was so lovely because after I won, I'd say about for the week after, there were so many, especially young girls,
Yeah.
messaging to say that it was really good to see someone that looked like them with red hair and pale skin and freckles, to winning a beauty pageant.
Yeah. Now, okay, so you were crowned October, I believe.
No, December.
Oh, December.
Yeah,
Okay. So you,
December
oh, okay.
21st.
Just less than 2 months ago. Now, to those of us or to those people out there who are not familiar with you,
Mm-hmm.
please tell us a little about yourself and a little bit of your background, where you came from, your family, your educational background, so forth and so on.
Okay, a little bio. My name is Nadia Sayers. I am 26 years old. I'll be 27 in June. And I grew up in like a country town in Omagh in County Tyrone, and then moved to the city whenever I started university. I went to university and got a bachelor's degree in psychology and a master's degree in applied psychology and mental health therapies.
Mm-hmm.
And I've used that to do my work in suicide prevention and, in particular, early intervention. So, mental health is something that I've been really passionate about for a long time. It's what my education is in. It is now my day in, day out work. So, I work at the moment for an early intervention mental health charity, and I work primarily with children.
Mm-hmm.
What we do is it's a little bit different, and it's really cool. We basically talk to young people and listen to their stories of maybe struggles they've had in the past and their journeys that they've come across. And we take their stories and turn them into a comic book.
Oh, okay.
And we use this comic book to bring into schools and bring into youth groups and read the story, identify the issues, and find possible solutions, and also use it as a way to offer hope for other young people who might be having the same sort of struggles.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of springboards us into a conversation about mental health and how to adopt early habits and learn how to speak and put a narrative to how we're feeling before you start to go down a dark path.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my day-to-day work now.
Okay. So you're actually working. You actually have a real job.
Oh yeah, like I have a real 9 to 5 Monday to Friday. I finished working an hour and a half ago.
And just being Miss Universe Ireland is just like what, a sideline?
It's just like the rest of my life.
Okay.
It really is I'm sure you know yourself, it's a full-time job, but I have been known to always pile my plate pretty high.
Yeah.
So I'm always juggling something.
Now, you're not new in the pageant industry. You've competed in pageants before. What prompted you to be interested in pageants?
So it's actually quite a strange start to pageantry.
Mm-hmm.
In that I have been modeling since I was 16, just locally. And in my friends group, they never had known anyone that had went into modeling or went down that line, and quite a lot of people in my school thought it was a bit strange. And whenever I started university, I was still doing bits and pieces of modeling, and a friend of mine was watching, well, not watching, but saw a beauty pageant queen come up on the Facebook page, and he said to me, "Imagine you up on a stage in a big sparkly dress. You'd just look ridiculous." Because I was very much into my Converse and my rock band t-shirts and that sort of stuff. And I took that as a challenge. I was like, right, okay, then I'll just show you how ridiculous it would be. So I went and entered my first pageant that night, having no idea, no insight into pageantry. But I thought it'll be something new, it'll be a learning curve, and I'll see what I think. And I just fell in love with it because of the girls that I met, the sense of support, the family that came with it, and
Mm-hmm.
how much I did learn. So then I started to kind of train myself and educate and look into different systems.
Right. You represented Ireland in Miss Intercontinental, I believe. Was it
Yeah.
was it 2018, I believe?
So it was 2017. I think I was crowned, and then I was away in 2018. Yes.
2018. How was that experience like?
It was great. Again, it was a real learning curve.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I think no one can fully prepare you for just how hectic and busy
Yeah.
it's going to be. So it was absolutely amazing. as in like I know so many of the girls that I competed with internationally, I still talk to all of the time.
Yeah.
I was talking to Miss Canada last week. I was talking to Miss England a couple days ago, and Miss USA and Miss Japan I'd still be very close to. So it was so wonderful
Yeah.
just meeting those girls and making that family. And I think it's just a testament to pageantry in general.
Right.
The fact that we are still friends, we still communicate. I was talking to Miss Canada about my wedding. Like, if you're here, because sure, there's an invitation, no problem.
Right. Well, that's one good thing about pageantry is because it builds lifetime relationships. And not only that, but if you want to visit their countries, you already have a place to stay, you know?
Exactly. It's an added bonus, free accommodation.
Yeah, free food, free hotel, everything, you know? Now, I've never been to Ireland. I know some Irish culture. I have some half Irish, half Filipino cousins, and I have a good Irish friend. His name is Paddy. You can't get any more Irish than Paddy. Okay. So we've known each other on Facebook for like over 10 years, but we've never actually met each other in person. But I love his accent. Sometimes I don't understand what he's talking about because his Irish accent is so deep. And I think he might speak Gaelic. Do you speak Gaelic?
Unfortunately, I don't. It's
Okay.
Some schools here never really put it on the curriculum.
Okay.
So some got to have that education and some didn't, and it's something that I'm still trying to pick up words here and there, but not very successfully.
Okay. Well, convince me. Give me like 3 good reasons why tourists, in particular, should visit your country.
Oh,
3
well,
things. 3 good reasons. Nadia, go.
the blaringly blatant reason, first of all, is how beautiful it is. Like, I am not ashamed to say that our country is so beautiful, and it's something that I think when you live here, it's very easy to brush over and forget. But we are within a short driving distance to so many beautiful spots and so many serene environments, which brings me on to my second reason.
Yeah.
If you need a break, somewhere just to relax and switch off, this is the perfect place because you have those remote areas that aren't too remote, but you're given your space, your head space. You can be in the middle of the countryside, you can be by the ocean. And finally, to top it all off, I genuinely do think that the Irish people are like one big community. We are very friendly. I like to think to anyone that comes here, this is a safe haven and a home to anyone that wants to visit. And it would be difficult to go anywhere and not have someone say hello to you and ask you how you are.
Well, yeah, you know what? I believe that. Is it true though that Ireland has the highest number of pubs?
Oh, probably. I'm not 100% sure, but I would not doubt it.
Now, you were born and raised in a country town.
Yes.
And then later moved to the big city. Do you prefer living in the city or out in the country?
So for now, I think where I'm at in my life now, I definitely prefer the city. I love the busyness of the city, the accessibility, just how obviously outside of COVID and lockdown, you can decide you want to do something and just go do it. And the thing about it's Belfast is the city that I live in. It's a city, but it's not a massive city. So it's really easy to get around. It's not very easy to get lost. Like it's just amazing, and I love it for now. However, I do really appreciate the countryside, and I know that in the next few years, or when I begin to start my family later down the line, I want to live in the countryside.
Right. Yeah.
I
You know
think
what?
that's
Yeah.
beautiful.
I think the country is the best location to raise kids, especially, if you're talking about like good school, a tightly knit community that you know your neighbors, you trust them, and you can grow your own vegetables, you know.
Exactly. Like my mum lives in the country at the moment, just outside a little village, and I really at the minute, obviously I can't go and visit her, but that's one thing I used to love. Every couple of weeks, me and my partner would have just went down there and stayed for a weekend and just enjoyed the space and the silence and the cows, and it was amazing.
Well, not only that, but you also have a lot of fresh air. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's breathable, unlike the city. I mean, city is polluted, and you have to worry about crime, and horrible people, and a lot of uncertainties in a big city, but not in a small town. Because I know that because I live in a small town, and I love it here. Now, you are a mental health advocate. What prompted you exactly to take interest in mental health issues?
So I think my interest in psychology um, began in secondary school, and it was more a curiosity thing for me. I had never really come across psychology
Mhm.
until my school actually began to teach the topic, and my school was the only one in the town that taught psychology. So I was interested, and I think I was interested because I always wanted to know the why behind something. Yes, say that person did something, you don't have to agree or disagree with it, but I want to know why they did it. What was their rationale? So I was always a very curious person,
Mhm.
which again then led me to do psychology in university. But then my kind of pursuit for early intervention and my passion for mental health came from when I started to struggle with my own. Um, I always was empathetic to it, but I, in honesty, had never really experienced anyone or known people probably around me had experienced poor mental health, but I wasn't aware of it
Mhm.
until in university I began to go downhill myself. And I suffered from body image issues for a long, long time, which I didn't identify, I didn't realize because you never do when you're in the thick of it.
Mhm.
And that compounded then into generalized anxiety disorder, which was just debilitating. It was so, it, it really interrupted my daily life,
Mhm.
really, really put a stall to everything. And then that developed into depression.
Mhm.
And during that time, the worst of it was I didn't try and get help because one, I wasn't in the headspace to start to search for it myself because you're completely drained. The thought of even trying to go and search for someone to help, never mind ask that big question, which is, can
Mhm.
I have help, was just too much. But as well, I didn't feel like I deserved it because there was no big, massive tragedy that happened that I kept saying to myself, well, sure, there's people better, there's people worse off. People have went through worse and they're coping, so you should cope. I didn't realize that it doesn't matter. My feelings are my own, and if I'm struggling, I deserve to get help.
Right.
And that's something that I try and teach to so many, not just young people, but people now. You can't compare your journey or your feelings to anyone else's. We all deal with stuff differently, and we
Mhm.
all have different strengths and weaknesses. And we all just need to reach out and ask for that help as soon as we realize that we need it before we let it compound any further. So once I kind of was building myself back up with treatment, I didn't want anyone else to have to feel like that again.
Right.
And I know that's nearly unrealistic to say, but I wanted to be that person
Mhm.
that spoke up, that maybe some other young girl or young boy would see and say, well, if they're speaking up about it and they're not afraid, then maybe it's okay for me to do it.
I totally agree with you because I really do believe, even though some people would deny it, I think every person suffers from some level of depression,
Mm-hmm.
one greater than the other. Um, and I know, I felt depression, once before, when I was outside. I went to school away from my family, and I've never felt so lonely in my life. So that's when I felt something hit my gut, and I started to cry. Oh my God, I miss my family. But they're 3,000 miles away. So yes, people do suffer from a certain level of depression. But now with the global pandemic, a good friend of mine sent me a private message, and she said that her cousin, who was living in England, committed suicide, and he was only 24. And the global pandemic, because of the pandemic, her family could not even reach out to her cousin's family because of the borders are closed. You can't travel from, she lives in Wales, so you can't travel from Wales to England, and vice versa. So how do you deal with that? I mean, how do you cope with that? What do you tell people if you can't even see, if you can't even console, your relatives because of a horrible suicide? It's just bad. I mean, you as a mental expert, how do you tell that to people?
It's such a difficult and complex thing, especially whenever it is death by suicide, because it's such a complex death. And a lot of people that experience it go through what's called complicated grief. And well, I suppose with any grieving process, you're not going to have the right words to say to fix anything.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, as much as it would be amazing if we could be there physically with them, just to give any support that we could. Like you said, right now it's not realistic for so many people. And I think it's just a case of checking in, letting them know that you're there, and not expecting everything back, not expecting them to reply. It's okay if they don't want to reply. Just letting them know, look, sending them a message, I'm here for you. If you want to have a call, let's talk.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it doesn't even need to be a let's talk about what you're going through.
Mm-hmm.
It could just be a right, let's just talk about the weather today.
Right.
Because a lot of people aren't processing it. Whenever someone passes away by any means, the stages of grief are not linear. You do not hit each of the 5 or 7 stages and tick it off as a wee box, and then that's you sorted and that's you forever. You bounce in between them, and quite often it's a delayed onset, especially when it comes to suicide.
Yeah.
There's more of a delayed response.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually on a conference today about suicide bereavement with some of the local government and other community groups, and that's one thing we were talking about, because at the time the families are asked to fill out so many forms and check so many things, and they're not in a space to do it. They're not at all. They're not even in a space to exit, to really
Mm-hmm.
go to ask for help a lot of the time, because it hasn't sunk in enough for them yet.
Mm-hmm.
But it could be a year, 2 years, 10 years down the line.
Right.
So it's stuff. Dealing with suicide bereavement is something that I know a lot of councils, committees, and organisations are trying to find the best way to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
But I think as friends and family from a distance, it's just checking in, letting them know you're there, and not forcing them to talk, but being there when they feel ready to talk.
Exactly. Just let them be. Just let them be. You know, give them some time for themselves to process.
Yeah.
Now, why do you think that you are the best candidate for the Miss Universe crown this year? I ask everybody this question, and I get all these different answers. So I want to know your answer.
You know that's a tricky one, so you always ask it.
Compare.
Well, first of all, it's about time we get a redhead up there, isn't it?
Aha! You say that.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, seriously, I think one thing for me that has stuck out and it seemed to resonate with a lot of people is the fact that I have done pageants before. I competed in Miss Universe Ireland last year. I had competed in pageants before without winning, but I used them as learning experiences and experiences for growth, and came back. And I think that drive and that motivation and that not giving into failure is something that needs to be spoken about a lot more. And with the Miss Universe title, what a powerful way to speak about that. Not to give up,
Right.
just to use it as a learning curve, reset and re-go.
Mm-hmm. And of course, you can always use your Miss Universe title to further promote your advocacy. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's something that, like I say, a lot of people talk about mental health. It is something that is in the media and is being spoken about, but I think one thing we need to be aware of and be careful of is that we're not blasting it so much that it's becoming like old wallpaper. The same statements, the same terms are just being drowned out, because people, if you hear them 20 times a day, they're just going to fade into the background.
Mm-hmm.
But we're being open, we're being honest, we're allowing ourselves to show a little vulnerability, because that's how you build trust with people. And we're working on those early intervention techniques, so we're not waiting to be reactive to these issues, we're trying to be proactive.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the fact that you have a background in psychology, I think helps predict what kind of behavior this an individual is up to. Because I mean, I wish I knew psychology, because I sometimes have a hard time reading a person. I mean, they may look happy and pretty outside, but deep down inside, maybe they're suffering. I still have to master that art of reading a person's person's mind or person's, internal feelings. But I think that's your advantage because, you major in psychology, and you can certainly use psychology when you compete in Miss Universe. So I can imagine, Miss Universe Ireland, sizing that competition. Oh my God, look at Miss USA. She's so pretty. Oh my gosh, she's so smart. What am I doing here? All these stuff, popping in your head.
Little notebook. No, it definitely is. Psychology is a helpful thing to have in any business, in any kind of route that you go down, career-wise or lifestyle-wise. But there is still such a huge amount of individualism in everything. And honestly, I learned the most working and working with people. And it's that experiential learning that I think has taken me so far within my own job and in life, because you can't teach empathy to somebody. You can't teach people to have compassion and patience with someone who's struggling, but you can learn through experiential learning.
Right.
So definitely.
Are you a foodie?
I love it so much.
Okay, so name 3 foods though that you would never eat.
Oh, that's tough because I'm quite open.
Why, you eat everything?
That's true. No, I'm quite open to trying new foods. Well, I can't eat dairy, which is incredibly sad. So can that be one? That just all dairy?
Okay.
Would never eat it. It makes me feel very, very sick. What is it? They eat frog's legs in France.
What? Frog's legs?
Yes, I'm pretty sure that's like a delicacy.
Ew. Well, the French people eat frog's legs, I think.
Yeah. I wouldn't go near that. No, it's just not my cup of tea. Third one. Oh, a Twinkie.
Twinkie?
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of sugar, and
no, I don't know what it is. I always kind of grew up being like, oh, I really want to try one sometime. Watching like American movies and TV shows,
right.
They're all talking about Twinkies. But whenever I lived in California for a little while, I went out and like bought a big box of Twinkies and brought them home. And I was like, I don't like the look of this. I don't know why. It creeped me out. I was like, I don't like the look of it. So I'm just never going to touch it ever again.
Well, just for the sake of argument, what if all the good foods disappeared in the world and there's only one left, Twinkie? Would you eat it?
All the good foods or all the food?
All the good foods are gone except for Twinkie, which is a bad food. Would you eat it anyway?
If it came up between Twinkies and frog legs, I'd definitely eat a Twinkie.
Fair enough. Now, you're a fun girl, right?
Okay, yeah.
You are. So what do you like to do for fun?
At the moment or typically?
Besides the creating snowman.
I am a big child at heart. I genuinely am. So building a snowman was perfect, especially in lockdown when there's not that much that you can do. Yeah. Whenever it started to snow, I think I was out there for 2 to 3 hours and it was amazing. I like just spending time with my friends, whether it be like going for a walk or going for a hike, because we have some great places to hike here. It's a good way of getting the fitness in as well without really realizing it. Going for coffee. I know it sounds so simple, but I really appreciate it now because we can't do it. Just going and sitting in a coffee shop and people watching or talking with a friend. And fashion shows. I love doing fashion shows. I haven't done one of them in a while.
All that girly stuff.
all that girly stuff.
Now, give 3 adjectives that your friends would describe you. 3 adjectives, Miss Nadia. Go.
Empathetic. Funny. They're always laughing at me, not with me, but at me. And kind.
Empathetic, funny, kind. Remember that, Miss Universe organization. You're looking at Miss Universe Ireland. Those are 3 wonderful qualities to have for Miss Universe. Now, if you could be a fictional superhero, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. If you could have a fictional superhero for a best friend, who would it
Okay.
be and why?
Iron Man.
Who?
Iron Man.
Why?
I would just love to be his best friend. I just find him so intriguing and
Hmm.
interesting. Um, yeah, I've always been a big fan of Iron Man. I think it's like basing it off the Marvel movies, the sense of humor that comes along with it, that dry, sarcastic sense of humor is very, very Irish.
Oh, really? Okay.
And I love it.
Interesting.
We have a lot of sarcasm.
I bet you do.
Yeah.
Now, you love animals.
Hmm.
If your pet could talk, what would their voice sound like? And what would they say about you?
She would be the biggest diva in this world.
Is it a cat or a dog?
It's a cat.
It's a cat. Yeah, cats are
I have,
divas.
I have a cat. I actually have her, like, she's locked outside this door because she would be everywhere. She's called Espresso, and she is just the biggest diva ever. Um,
If she could talk, what would her voice sound like?
I actually spoke about this with my friend not that long ago. I could imagine her having like a French accent.
Okay,
I don't
go.
know why. She just gives off that vibe, and she would just be demanding constantly, demanding me move her bed, demanding me give her treats, demanding I give her more attention.
Okay. So in other words, she probably would not say anything kind about you,
Oh,
right?
I don't think she would say anything about me. I think it would just be all about her.
Good enough. Now, do you think that our culture in general is too obsessed with physical beauty? If so, how could we change that attitude?
I think the way that society views beauty is the issue. Like you say, a lot of it is focused on physical beauty, and every few years it hones in on a particular type of physical beauty. So it'll constantly change. So this year this is what's considered beautiful, and this year it's this, and that's ever changing. And society is expecting nearly that women and particularly young girls who are vulnerable to it are just going to continuously remold and keep up to those societal standards so that they can feel worthy
Hmm.
or feel that they can achieve more. Um, when instead, I think we should be teaching these young girls and as a society embracing individual beauty inside, beauty of personality and of character. And yes, if you feel beautiful in your skin, which you should, we should be celebrating that, not telling you, well, that's not the right type of beauty for us. We need you to be a
Hmm.
different kind.
Hmm.
That is what I find completely ridiculous.
Right. Um, were you ever bullied when you were younger?
Yes.
You were not because of your red hair.
Yes.
Really?
A
Okay.
little. Yeah. I was only bullied a little bit because of my red hair. I had a best friend who was also a redhead, and the bullying that she received, and the names that we got called, and it was just horrendous. It was because I suppose it was something different.
Hmm.
That there's always been that kind of stigma around red hair, and that you're going to really be a target when you go to school.
Yeah.
Um, but no, I was bullied actually quite severely in hindsight in primary school, physically bullied. I think I was only in primary four, primary five, so I was very young. And then secondary school, I wasn't too bad. It was here and there, drips and drabs, but nothing too severe.
Okay. So, does it bother you when people like call you Ginger?
Not now, not at all. I call myself Ginger now. It's no issue.
Okay. All right.
But I think there was a time that some redheads would get offended by it and would get bothered, but I suppose it's more the tone in which it's said, because
Right. Right.
a lot of time growing up it was nearly used and said in a way that it was an insult.
Yeah.
And only in secondary school I was like, well, I am.
Yeah.
So that's like me shouting blonde.
Well,
I'm not.
I love ginger. Ginger is one of the most powerful, potent vegetables in the world because it has a lot of nutrients. So if we can only educate the public about the benefits, the health benefits of ginger, maybe they would, start respecting redheads people more, I
Yeah,
guess.
exactly. Exactly. I hope, I can't say I think because I'm not in school, but I hope that it's starting to dilute out now a little bit. Um, because like the older I got, the more I embraced my hair color. I did hair modeling at one stage, and they dyed my hair, and I realized that my wardrobe is entirely styled around my hair color. I had absolutely no color in my wardrobe because I was like, well, I'm a redhead, so that's enough color. It's fine. It was awful.
Just don't wear a green evening gown, okay? Because you don't want to look like a Christmas tree.
Yeah, yeah. And I think everyone always assumes that you're going to wear green whenever you're a redhead. So I don't like to go with.
But wait a minute, that picture of you standing up in the banner in the background, isn't that dress green?
Which one?
The dress that you're wearing here in the background.
This one?
Yeah, isn't that green?
No, no, no. That's like a metallic silver.
Oh, is it silver? Okay. Maybe
Yeah,
because of the lighting. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's metallic silver.
Yeah. But nevertheless, if it was green, you still look good wearing green. So, hey. Now, if there were no rules in your life just for one day, Miss Sayers, and you could be totally, totally outrageous, what would you do?
Oh, do you know what? It's not that outrageous, but it's something that I would just like. I would love to do, and I would be the first thing I do. I would just drop everything and jump on a plane and travel. Especially if I could do it for free. Just jump on any no rules. Jump on that plane for free.
Yeah.
And I would go sightseeing and try and pick up as many experiences as I could. Because that's one thing that again I always appreciated, but definitely do now. I haven't traveled as much as I would like to, and it's something I really want to continue to do. So we just need to have the funds to do it.
Okay. Sounds fair. Now, this question was asked to Miss Russia at Miss Universe 2002, and she eventually won. The question was, what gives you goosebumps?
Hmm.
Actually,
Okay.
no, I'm sorry. Was it Miss Russia? No, I'm sorry. No, not exactly Miss Russia, but this question is very popular and is asked all the time. So what gives you goosebumps, by the way?
So in the last thing that gave me goosebumps, and it was to do with work. Obviously I work with children all day and young people and teenagers, and we talk about topics that are sometimes quite difficult to discuss because it's not what they're used to talking about. But you would be surprised the amount of times that after we talk and after we do our session, a young person will come up to you or a child will come up to you and disclose something, just complete honesty and openness, and it nearly puts you in shock initially, especially the first few times that it happens. It's like, I can't believe that this person is choosing to open up to me. They don't know me, but every single time I get goosebumps, and I think it comes from pride. I'm so proud of them for feeling that they can open up. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. Feeling that they can open up, and because that's often the first step in what kind of journey they need to take.
That's so wonderful. Okay, so if that could give you goosebumps, what makes you blush?
Mm, compliments,
What
compliments, compliments.
compliments? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm still, especially whenever around Miss Universe Ireland compliments now, because I'm still not fully used to them, because I haven't been out and about either since I've been crowned. We've been in lockdown. So whenever I do speak to someone and they give me a compliment, I get a little bit like, oh.
Now, let me see. Do you have any tattoos?
Nope. I'm a blank canvas.
Oh my God, I love you. I love, 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 love you. Because you know what? I am so sick to death of beautiful young women who sport a lot of these horrible tattoos on their body. especially when they're competing in a beauty pageant. You're wearing the
Yeah.
most fabulous gown, and then it's ruined. It's ruined by this ridiculous like tattoo on your arm, on the back, on your neck, whatever. You know, cover it up, girl.
Yeah.
I love you. I'm so love you. Tattoos. Keep it that way. But would you ever have one in the future? Like,
I don't know. I would never say never, but to this point, there hasn't been. If I was going to get one, it'd have to really mean something important. And there hasn't been anything at the moment. Obviously, amazing things have happened, but nothing that has warranted me inking my skin with it.
yeah, yeah. And I think a lot of people too regret after they're having tattoos and they can't get rid of it. You know, especially
Well,
when you grow older,
yeah.
it looks the
I have
tattoo looks different. Yeah.
a few friends, like a few very close friends that I went to secondary school with, and as soon as they were old enough, they got tattoos. And at the time, we were like, "Oh my goodness, you're so cool! You have those tattoos." And now they spend their time either trying to cover them up or they've paid to get cover up tattoos. And I was sitting like, I'm so glad I never got one. I'm so glad I was too scared.
If you could be great at one thing, what would it be and why?
Singing,
Thinking?
singing.
Singing. You can't
Yeah,
sing?
I am. I physically can, but I am. It doesn't sound good.
Okay.
I sing solely in my shower or in my car, and I have a great time and so much fun when I'm doing it. But I would never do it in public because I am not a good singer at all.
So I guess you wouldn't want to give a sample of your singing voice right now?
Unfortunately, not. It's retired for the evening.
All right.
But
That's
I am.
fine. You're excused. Now, of course, friendships are very important. You know, we can't live without friends. To you, what do you look for and need in your friendships?
I think the primary qualities that I look for, especially as you get older, I think you identify qualities that you need in a friend the older you get. Trust is one, definitely.
Mhm.
Loyalty and openness. And I mean openness as in even best friends are not going to have the same opinions or agree on everything 100% of the time.
Right.
And that is completely fine. And people need to understand that. And I think when you're younger, it's something that you find difficult to comprehend, that you can both have completely opposing um, opinions on something.
Hmm.
However, you need to just be able to respect each other enough to respect those opinions. And I think that openness and ability to respect others' differences is something that is so important in any friendship for it to be able to survive.
Hmm. I agree. Totally agree. Now, what do most people think is true about you, but it isn't?
That don't worry, there's nothing scary coming. That I have always been confident in speaking and doing public speaking. I suppose because of my job and all of my hobbies. Quite a lot of it is me standing in front of people or going online and speaking to people like yourself. And everyone assumes that I've always done it and always enjoyed it and always been confident at it. And that could not be farther from the truth.
Okay.
I mean, in school, even in university, the idea of even reading a sentence out of a book whilst I sat at my desk in front of a class terrified me.
Hmm.
Absolutely terrified me. I actually had to. I remember having to say to one of my English teachers after class. I stopped and I asked him. He was called Mr. Murphy. I was like, Mr. Murphy, can I ask a big favor? And he was like, well, I was like, can you please never ask me to read out loud in class again? Because that day he'd asked me to read a sentence, and I was like, I just like my anxiety goes way through the roof, like I'm sweating and everything, and I can't do it. And thankfully he was like, right, that's okay, that's no problem, just you listen and pay attention, but that's maybe something you should work on. And I was like, okay.
Well, wait a minute. You don't have a stage fright, do you?
No, I used to. I
Okay.
would have. When I was younger, even the idea of school plays and stuff terrified me. And I was in the choir, and I always wanted to stand in the back and be out of the way. But I've got past that now. I think when I started pageantry, it was nearly I would psych myself up before I went on stage. I would nearly put on this mindset, and I was like, no, you're going to do this.
Right.
This is Nadia, who's in pageants and who enjoys this, and you're just going to show them who you are.
Exactly.
So I was obviously still nervous, and before I get on stage, almost every time, especially if I'm nervous, I have this habit. I like dance to myself, so I could be like the next girl about to go on stage, and I'll be sitting like this, and they're like,
Right.
Nadia, and then I straight back and I'm out on stage, but it
Yeah.
distracts me. But I definitely think my job speaking about mental health definitely helped, because it's something I'm passionate about, something that is far more important than my fear, and that really helped me to kind of push through.
Mm-hmm. What would you do, let's say, if you were the opposite sex for a month?
Um,
I mean, I
you
know
know,
you're very proud to be a woman, but let's say, what would you do? Let's say if the world was upside down and all of a sudden you're a man for a month, what would you do?
I think I would be really intrigued to live their day-to-day life, to live day-to-day as a man. Obviously, I've only ever experienced it as a woman. And sometimes, sadly, as women, you see discrepancies in treatment and the way things are viewed. And I would just be really intrigued to be in a man's shoes and see firsthand where those differences are and how kind of extreme those differences are. Yeah, that's the first thing that came to my mind, just because, again, they've never had to live with our daily life and the way that we live, and the things that are said about us and focused on in women, and how it does differentiate at times. So I think it would be a massive learning curve.
Have you ever thought of like drag, maybe trying to look yourself as a man? I think you look very handsome as a man. Oh, connection. What happened? All right, let me pause. Okay, there was internet malfunction. I don't know what happened.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear the last question.
Oh, yeah, I think Mike. Okay, this is going back to the question: if you were a man for a month, what would you do? And I commented, you know what? Have you ever tried, making yourself up to look like a man? Because if you were, you'd look very handsome.
Oh wow, thank you. I've never tried that.
Do you have any brothers?
I do. I have a younger brother. Yes,
Okay.
he
Okay.
is 20, turning 21 next month.
Okay. Yeah. Because I think that's something that it would be very interesting to experiment,
Hmm.
especially from a psychological perspective. How would you feel if you actually looked like a man, looking yourself in the mirror? You should try that. You should do it.
Yeah.
Now,
Hmm.
what is the most
I'd have to take a
childish
look.
thing? What is the most childish? What is the most childish thing that you still do besides sucking
I
your
mean,
thumb?
apart from romance. Okay, this is such a childish thing, and I don't know where it came from, but I still love to do it. Sometimes I would build like a fort. Like building a fort out of
Right.
like blankets and cushions, and especially on the likes of birthdays or coming up to Christmas. Sometimes me and my partner will just decide, you know what, we're going to build a fort in our living room, and we'll build this great big fort with little like fairy lights, and we'll put a movie on and drink hot chocolate. And I think it's just the coziness
Yeah.
of it all. It's something to do. And every time my mum hears about it and she laughs at me, she's like, Nadia, when are you ever going to grow up? And I was like, well, ask me when I come out of my fort.
Exactly. Well, a fort. You could be a princess living in a fort, right? Or a
Exactly.
soldier, or a knight in shining armor. Who knows?
Like I remember the first time was whenever one of my boyfriends, he built me a fort when I came home, because I was having a really difficult week at work, and he was like, you're going to get in your fort and it's going to be cozy and you're going to enjoy it and you're going to feel better because we're going to watch movies. And it worked. So every so often we just build one now.
Now, what is something that you have never told anyone?
I'm quite an open book. Um, okay, we'll go. this is something I never brought up in an
Because
interview.
I know you've been like interviewed by all these different vloggers from all over the world, but I'm asking you now exclusively for Critical Beauty. What is something that you have never told anyone now?
It is so not relevant to anything, but I'm going to tell you anyway.
Okay.
So whenever because we talked about my brother, he's called Brett, and he's a great guy, and there's 6 years between each of us, and obviously I had 6 years of being the only child and the oldest child, the only grandchild as well for a long time. And whenever my brother was born, I fell out with my mum for 2 weeks and wouldn't speak to her. To the extent she would say, Nadia, what do you want for dinner? And I would just stay silent. And my grandmother would have to say, Nadia, what do you want for dinner? And I'd reply to her. And for a 6-year-old, I still think that's dedication to keep that for 2 weeks. I'm not justifying what I did. It was obviously horrible for my mum. But I think it was jealousy, and my nose was a little out of joint because this new baby had come into the house and was getting all of this attention. So yeah, that was probably my most selfish 2 weeks as well ever.
So there's only two of you and your younger brother, right?
No, I have a younger sister as well who's 6 years younger again. So there's 12 years between me and her.
Okay, that's interesting. Now, would you encourage your younger sister to compete in pageants someday if she wants to?
So she had actually asked me about it in the past and talked to my mum about it. And what I'd said to her was, yes, I'll be more than supportive. I was like, I will train you. I will like support you. I'll be there at every show. However, I was like, make sure, one, it's the right pageant. Make sure it's one that is going to look after you and treat you well. And it's for something, for a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And two, make sure that you are ready, as in you feel confident in yourself enough to get up on that stage. Because I think if you're not in the right place mentally to do that, to go up there and stand beside all of these other young girls, it can be very damaging if you haven't got the right kind of support there, or the right words in your ear. So that's why I think that the right pageant and the right time is very important. So that's what we've kind of said to her. So I think a few more years, and I think we'll maybe then get her into Miss, whenever she's that age.
Right. Well, you know what? You can start training her now when she's young. She can train wearing 6-inch heels, walking. Mm-hmm.
I started getting her like high-heeled boots,
right,
and high-heeled sandals now, so she can practice, and we'll move it up an inch every year then.
Now, what's one form of self-expression that you've been too hesitant to explore?
I would say, dance.
Okay.
As in, yes, I'll dance if I'm out, if I'm at an event.
Mm-hmm.
Not very expressive dancing, very like to myself dancing. And I dance around my house, but I'm very aware of it when I'm dancing, and I wouldn't, do you ever see in the movies, you see people doing those expressive dance moves and everything, and all these different styles of dance? It's something that my embarrassment is there. So it's something I still need to push through. But yeah, dance. I think it's just the fear of falling over on my face. And
Can you do the Irish dance steps, the traditional Irish dancing?
So
a lot of leg work. Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of flexibility needed as well for those like high kicks. I've done it a few times in my past, but it's not something that I kind of kept up. But it's amazing how fast some of those people can move their feet, and how the precision that goes into it. There's so much training and time that goes into it. I have a few friends that do it and have done for years, and it's just so phenomenal.
If you could live in another country for a year, no strings attached, where would you go and why?
I would go to New Zealand.
Ooh, yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
I think it's a beautiful country. I've been told, I've heard that the people and the culture is very similar to our own in our sense of humor and our way of getting on, but it's a warmer, sunnier version, which is something I would greatly appreciate.
Yeah.
And I just think as well, Jacinta Ardern is doing an amazing job there. She's leading that country with empathy and openness and respect, and I just really admire it.
Hmm. Yeah, I heard a lot of beautiful things about New Zealand, especially from a geographical point of view, because they have mountains, they have lakes, they have deserts, they have jungles, they have everything. Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's also very clean. Yeah, so which is great.
yeah, no.
Now, what movie can you watch over and over and over without ever getting tired?
Oh, there's two. Can I tell you two, or do you
Okay,
just
sure, that's fine. What's the first one?
The Nightmare Before Christmas?
Why?
I have it's always been my favorite movie.
Okay.
I think because I'm a big celebrator. I will celebrate almost anything. Other people's birthdays I make a big deal of. Christmas is my favorite time of the year, and I love Halloween. I always get really into Halloween. So I think for me, The Nightmare Before Christmas has always been that like transition movie that
Hmm.
okay, we've just done Halloween and now we're moving into Christmas. So it's one that I could just watch it day in, day
Over and
out.
over. Yeah.
And the second is Beetlejuice.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love
So
it. Yeah.
oh, it's so good. It's just and it like I hadn't watched it for a few years and I started watching it again and I showed it to my brothers and sister and they were like, "Why do you like this? The graphics and everything isn't great." And I was like, "I don't care. It's just phenomenal. It's just such a good story. It's very nostalgic, I think."
Yeah. So you're a big Tim Burton fan. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I am.
I like Tim Burton too. He's like very, very, very creative, very amusing. Now, if you could teach everyone in the world over one concept, what concept would have the biggest positive impact on humanity?
Emotional intelligence.
Interesting.
So often people forget about the EQ. We're so busy focusing on the IQ that we forget about the rest. And schools, yes, are amazing, but a lot of curriculums are focused on passing tests and not living
Hmm.
and living your life well and in a healthy way. And that's something that we neglect so often. But if we started to teach these things, even self awareness and self regulation, if we were able to start teaching things like that from primary school, from the start of primary school through, I just think that in general we would all be have a lot more holistic view on things. We would all feel a lot better. And even the way countries are led, I think it would be led in a completely different way.
Are you saying that if women ruled the world, there would be peace, Miss Universe Ireland?
You said that, not me, but I will not disagree.
But you agree? Okay, fine, good enough. Now, if Hollywood were to make a movie about you, Miss Universe Ireland, what would be the title?
Hmm.
Da, 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 da.
Little Red.
Little Red, directed by Tim Burton.
Exactly, that would be the perfect movie.
So it's a combination of what? Anime or cartoon? Maybe pixel. It's a pixelized movie, maybe digital movie.
Yes, jumping between themes. You ever see movies like that that kind of like the first like 5 minutes is more of like a cartoon and then it jumps
Yeah.
into animation and yeah, I love that.
But what kind of genre would it be? Would it be drama, comedy, combination of both, musical, horror?
A musical, a musical comedy with a touch of horror because I love a good horror movie.
Yeah, me too. My favorite horror movie of all time is The Exorcist. Ugh, love it.
Like my grandmother for so many years was like, Nadia, promise me you will never watch it because it's so spooky and so many spooky things happened and it's not good. I was like, yes, Granny, of course, never. I had to like sneak it out of Extravision, out of the DVD rental store,
Yeah.
sneak it out, put it on, and watch it in secret.
It's awesome. My favorite scene is just when that young girl turned her head 360 degrees and vomited avocado,
Yeah, yeah.
guacamole, whatever. That's
So
awesome.
the dog and the dog's eyes still like
Ew.
this day, like
Yeah.
when it comes on screen, I feel like it's looking through me. It's so strange.
Now, what has been your most embarrassing moment so far, and how did you deal with it? We all
Okay.
have embarrassing moments.
Oh yeah, definitely. This, I need you to think back to the point of view of like an early teenage girl and how it might have felt then in a very small town. So it was one Saturday we went up for a walk up the town. My dad and my brother and me and my mum, and my mum was pregnant with my sister, and so I was about 12 or 13, and we went into this game store, and my brother had been so annoying all day at that stage. Like he was just fighting with me and yapping, and him and my dad went into the store anyway. And my mum needed to go outside for some fresh air, so I walked out with her. And like 10 minutes passed, and they hadn't emerged from the store. And I was like, "What are they doing in there?" Because I just wanted to go and get some food. And I looked in, and there he was, standing at the counter, buying like 4 different games. So that would have been like 80 or 90 pounds. And I was like, I walked up to this man who I believed was my dad, put my head on his shoulder, and was like, oh, "What are you buying him now? Like he's been so annoying all day." And this person that I don't know looked around at me and was like, "Excuse me," and I looked up, and it was a man that I'd never seen in my life before. My mum was standing at the door of the store laughing at me. And my dad and my brother went for a walk, so I had walked up and put my head on this strange man's shoulder and complained to him. I nearly
So
died.
you must have turned. I could just imagine your face turning red,
Bright
blushed.
red. The cashier realized what had happened and was laughing so much. My mom standing there was laughing. She couldn't even speak to me. I've never lived it down.
That's funny. Do you like playing games, Miss Sayers?
Yes, I do.
Okay, let's play some games. Our first game is called Fast Talk. So I'm gonna mention 2 things, and you just tell me which do you prefer. Ready?
Okay, let's go.
Wine or beer?
Wine.
Why?
I just love wine, and I have really nice wine glasses, so any excuse to use them.
Okay. iPhone or Samsung?
iPhone.
Are you using iPhone right now?
No, but I have one here.
Oh.
Oh, I'm using a Mac now, so yeah, Apple.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Lights off or lights on?
Lights on.
Interesting. Dog or cat?
I'll say a cat. I have one.
You're biased, of course.
Bias.
Horse-drawn carriage or a bicycle?
Horse-drawn carriage.
Because it's very romantic, right?
Yes, and like a fairy tale.
Fairy tale, exactly. I agree. Brown eyes or blue eyes?
Blue eyes.
Money or love?
Love.
But money can buy love.
I don't think it can.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
Not true love.
Not true. Not true all the time.
That's true.
A hairy boyfriend or a smooth boyfriend?
Hairy.
Okay. What's your favorite color?
Black.
Really? Is black even a color? Because it's like neutral though. It's like white.
Do you want me to pick a different one? Does it not count when it has a color?
Okay. Well, besides black, name another color.
Blue.
Blue. Okay.
Blue.
I like blue too. Favorite flower?
A lily.
Love lily. Your favorite holiday? Like Christmas, Valentine's Day, New Year's Eve, whatever.
Christmas every day.
Christmas every day. And your favorite drink?
Alcoholic or non-alcoholic?
Doesn't matter.
Water or
Water.
gin and tonic.
Okay. Now, water, would you prefer tap water or mineral water or bottled water?
I just drink tap water.
Tap water? Yeah, they're the best. As long as you have a filter, you're fine.
Yeah, our tap water is fine. So just tap water, plenty of ice.
Game number 2.
Okay.
Would you rather?
Oh no, okay.
Would you rather have more time or have more money?
Time.
Why?
I think it's the one thing that we always overlook, but we always miss the most when it's not there.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you rather know all the world's languages or speak with animals?
Speak with animals, definitely.
Why?
I'm always so intrigued. Really, none of us know what is going through any of our pets' minds at any time. And sometimes, like, do you have pets? Whenever you have a pet, they do such random crazy things sometimes, and you just are wondering why. So I think it would cure a lot of my curiosity.
Okay, that's fair.
You're just not sure. You're like, well, this one.
I'm not convinced, but hey, that's fair.
Different.
Would you rather give up all drinks except for water or give up eating anything that was cooked in an oven?
Give up all drinks except from water.
Okay.
In Ireland, we need hot food.
Right. Would you rather have skin that changes color based on your emotions or tattoos appear all over your body depicting what you did yesterday?
Mood changing skin or color changing skin.
Culture depending on your mood?
Yes.
Okay.
I'd probably give people a good heads up as well if I was having a bad day.
Yeah, it's like a chameleon because a chameleon, it's color. I think its color changes depending on the mood, I believe.
Ah.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No, I didn't know
Yeah.
why. I knew it changed, but I didn't know that could be a factor.
Yeah, it's one of those very unusual animals.
That's cool. I
Yeah.
like that. I like that.
And and they eat a lot of bugs, like bugs that are not necessarily beneficial, but yeah, they do all that stuff. Now, let me see. Would you rather live in a cave or live in a treehouse?
A treehouse.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
I would love to live in a treehouse. I was actually just thinking the other day, like whenever I have a house out in the country, I want a treehouse built.
Really? That's
Yeah,
interesting.
I like to watch my surroundings and people watch and see what's going on. So I like being up high.
Oh, okay. Would you rather see what was behind every closed door or be able to guess the combination of every safe on the first try?
I guess the combination of a safe would definitely be handy. I could do all the
Really?
traveling then.
Why?
I could do all the traveling then.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Now, would you rather?
Can you hurry up? The game's starting. Here we go.
Let me see, hold on. Would you rather always be 10 minutes late or always be 20 minutes early?
Oh, this is easy. 20 minutes early. I'm always 15 minutes early for everything already.
That's true. Would you rather that your shirts be always 2 sizes too big or 1 size too small?
2 sizes too big.
Why?
I think you could style that to make it look right. However, if there's a shirt that's too tight, it just doesn't look good.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. And of course, there's always the possibility that you can gain a few pounds. And
Exactly. A
a
little
big,
bit of wiggle room for
yeah.
Christmas.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Or you get pregnant, heaven forbid.
Yeah, you're gonna need that some stage. You're gonna regret that tight shirt.
That's
then.
right. Now, would you rather be married to a 10 with a bad personality or to a 6 with an amazing personality?
A 6 with an amazing personality, because you have to
Why?
be around this person all the time. And if you imagine if you're around like a really negative or horrible person all the time, no, don't have time for that.
Okay, well, that's fair.
Always update a wardrobe or give a haircut.
Okay, third game. Give me a wrong answer. Okay,
So just a random answer.
a random wrong
Okay.
answer. Okay.
Okay.
Nadia, tell me, why is the grass green?
Because the yellow and the blue grass made best friends.
Okay, that's funny and it's wrong. I take it. Okay.
I don't know if it needs to be relevant or not, but we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah. Nadia, why are cats bitchy?
Because they didn't get enough coffee.
They didn't get enough Irish Bailey's coffee,
Exactly. Good correction.
right? Okay. Nadia, why are there 7 colors in the rainbow?
Because the rest was all neutral.
Okay, that's fine. That's perfect. It has some like political connotation to it, right? Like the rainbow flag. Everything's neutral, right? Nadia, how do you make chocolate cake?
With mayonnaise.
What do you do with a chocolate cake? Give me a wrong recipe, baby.
What do you make chocolate cake with?
Yeah, chocolate cake. Do you like chocolate cake too?
Mayonnaise and mud.
Ooh,
On the bowl.
I would love to try that. Ooh, that sounds delicious.
Yeah, it is. Family recipe.
Wow. Okay. Nadia, tell me, where is the South Pole?
In Scotland?
It's in Scotland?
Yeah.
You know what? You may be right. I think so. Yeah, you're right. Thank you. Because I've always wondered where the hell is South Pole. Oh my
I've got you.
God.
Don't worry.
It's in Scotland. Woohoo.
That's where they make all the bagpipes.
That's right. That's right. And South Pole.
Mm-hmm.
Now, last one. Give me a wrong answer. Who will win Miss Universe 2020?
My cat.
Woo, 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 woo. Good one. Listen, sweetie, I had a wonderful time chatting with you.
Thank you so much for having me on. It was so lovely to meet you.
Likewise, because I've always wondered, is Ireland going to have a physical pageant? Because I was like waiting and waiting and waiting, and then all of a sudden, Facebook Lives. Oh, and then Fionn, how do you pronounce her name? Fionnuala. Fionnuala, yeah. And she appeared on my Facebook Live, and oh my God, they're having Miss Universe Ireland right now, this moment. And then when I saw your name being announced as the winner, I was like, oh my gosh, she's so pretty. Blah, blah, blah. So I definitely have to interview her. And congratulations, by the way, for you winning the crown. And I have a feeling you're going to do very well. You know why? Because you have a wonderful, excellent national director, Brittany.
Oh yeah, she is amazing, absolutely amazing, and just the wealth of knowledge and support that comes with winning this title is phenomenal. She is so hands-on with everything, and she's just an absolute star.
She is, and ever since she took over the Irish franchise like a few years ago, the pageant has stepped up to the plate. I think Ireland has been sending wonderful, very highly competitive and high quality candidates. So I'm
sword.
Yeah. One last bonus question. If you were given the chance to select your roommate for Miss Universe, who would it be and why?
I'm gonna go with Miss USA.
Okay.
Because that's happened before, like where Ireland has stayed with USA, and they just had a great time and they've built a really nice friendship. So fingers crossed.
Okay, well, I'm gonna get my fingers crossed. You know, we could always use some Irish and American friendship, you know, forever.
Yeah.
Now, another bonus question. You don't have to answer.
So, how many bonuses?
Can you give us any hint of what your national costume is going to be like? Or is it a secret?
Nice try. That is completely confidential and top secret.
I know you psychology girl, you. You know? But I do love that crown. It's a beautiful crown. Is it like emeralds?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I love it so much. It arrived, was it last week or the week before, and I just couldn't believe it. I was
Yeah.
so excited.
Well, it's very fitting because Ireland is the Emerald Isle, right?
Exactly. It's so lovely. So I can't wait. I have a crown box and everything, but it hasn't got to me yet. So eventually my sash and my crown box will get here. But
now, did you when the first time you got the crown, did you have a selfie taken of you like in bed sleeping wearing the crown and the sash? Because a lot of the title holders do that all the time. So.
Yeah. No, well, I haven't got the sash yet. It's still finding a way to me.
Okay.
With COVID and everything, things are taking so long to get to me as well. So I haven't got it yet. I haven't got the full uniform. But whenever the first time when I got it, I put it on, but I refused to look at myself in the mirror. At the start, I was like, no, I'm just out of bed. I need to go and like wash my face and do my hair and make myself feel like how I would have felt in the night. And then I just put it on and sat and looked at it for a minute and was like,
well, you look gorgeous. I love, yeah, I love. Also, your hair looks a little darker, I think.
Oh, really?
Maybe because of the lighting. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's all natural. Grew it
All
all
natural.
myself.
So, you kind of remind me of Miss USA 2011, Alyssa Campanella, who is a redhead. Yeah, she was.
Yes, I know.
You know her? You've heard of her?
I know of her.
Yeah.
I've definitely heard of her. I heard of her last year, because it was, I think it might have actually been Brittany had said to me. First of all, she was like, "Do you know who this like Alyssa person is? Because you look like her." And I was like, "No idea." And when I followed her, and I've been following her since, and now since I won, a lot of people it's popping up again that I look like her. Such a compliment.
But you know what? She's actually a natural blonde.
Oh, really?
She is a natural blonde. Yeah. Yeah, but she looks much better as a redhead, I think. Yeah, definitely.
I wouldn't have guessed that. Whoever does her hair coloring is very good.
Very, very good. Right. Ask her. Listen, good luck, competition, and then let's do a follow-up interview. You know, as the pageant approaches, you know, I'd love to get to know more of you, and also, of course, your fans. Now, before I let you go, would you like to leave a message to your followers, to your fans, and to Ireland?
Course. Truly everything I want to say is just thank you so much for all of the support, all of the messages that I've gotten, received, and have done since even before I was crowned. I know there are maybe so many that I haven't been able to get back to, and I promise I'm in the process. But honestly, everything has been read, and every message means so much, and I will just do my absolute best to make you all so proud.
Well, thank you. And I'm going to give you a virtual hug, big virtual hug from good old Massachusetts. A lot of Irish, by the way, in Massachusetts. A lot, yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and upload this video to my YouTube channel, Critical Beautiful, and I'm going to tag you so you can get to watch it and share it with your friends. Okay. Well, have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the week, Miss Nadia Sayers, Miss Universe Ireland 2020. Thank you, people, for watching the show, and until the next time. Bye, Nadia.
Bye.
Take care.